Niklsun here, and welcome to Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. I'm your host, and on this show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be going over all of the day's movie news, as well as going over what it means for the production in general, such as casting decisions, trailer announcements, director announcements, things like that. So, without any further ado, let's get started with today's Hot Topics. Yesterday, the first trailer for Dwayne Johnson's upcoming film San Andreas was released, and before I get into my initial reactions to the trailer, I want to ask a question. Is the purpose of a film fan nowadays to bash everything that comes out and say that it sucks? Because I am finding that with every single trailer that comes out for a movie. It's like they want every single movie to fail. If you go through a lot of the comments for the Jurassic World trailer, the Star Wars Force Awakens trailer, now the San Andreas trailer. I mean, it almost looks as though people out there are just saying, oh, well, you know what, it's going to suck because it looks like something we've already had. And I'm really starting to get sick of seeing all these comments because it seems as though they're just not capable of getting excited for anything anymore. And to me, what I look at in a film, I never judge one film based on another film. I will never compare a movie to Apollo 13 or JFK. Simply because they're completely different films. I mean, San Andreas, the closest thing you could compare this to would be something along the lines of The Day After Tomorrow, 2012, and even to some extent Independence Day. So you have to compare them to films like that. If you have to compare them, if you have to say, well, I like this film better than this one. Each film is subjective, absolutely, but you have to take into consideration the type of film that it is, the type of film they're going for, what the main the main things in the film that they are striving for. So whether or not, like, if you look at a movie, what's a good example? Dumb and Dumber 2. Dumb and Dumber 2 was striving to just be a funny movie. They mostly succeeded, but in the end, certain other characteristics of the movie just fell flat. But you cannot compare that movie to a movie like, let's say, Inherent Vice. You can't compare those two. They are two completely different films. And so when I see a lot of the comments coming out on a lot of these boards, and it's not even just in some of the comments, it's some of the people writing the articles about the film. And I understand everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Absolutely. But I'm starting to find that there are certain movie journalists out there that either go against the grind just to go against the grind, or they're in the wrong profession. A couple come to mind. I mean, some of these guys are really good at their job. Like, you look at Devin Faraci at Badass Digest. The dude is a jerk, but he is good at his job. He is good at getting scoops. He's good at getting exclusives and all this kind of stuff. But with the exception of the odd film here and there, the dude always has a stick shoved right up his ass when it comes to any film. And it really gets to me. It really ticks me off because I go to all these sites to see a myriad of different opinions. I want to see the bad with the good, but I hate always getting the bad reviews and bad opinions from the same people. That to me shows that either they're not being honest and they're not giving their actual opinion about something, or they're in the wrong profession because they clearly just do not like movies. And I'm really starting to get fed up with it. But getting back to this trailer, a lot, like, there, who was it? Matt Goldberg is one over at Collider. He's one who almost consecutively bashes on films. There will be the odd film here and there that he does like, but for the most part, he's like, oh, this looks stupid, it looks silly, it looks corny, it looks dumb. Like, he said that this movie looks just, I think the word he used was corny, but I'd have to reread the article. And after looking at the trailer, how can you find that this is corny? I really don't get how this could be corny. This movie, the one thing I was actually thinking of before this trailer came out was that this movie was going to have a more light-hearted feel to it, only because of the director. Brad Peyton has only had 2 feature-length films he's directed previous to this. The first one was Cats and Dogs, Revenge of Kitty Galore, and the second one was Journey to the Mysterious Island, so he has a working connection with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I was thinking that this movie is going to be a little bit more on the family-friendly side, just because of the director's experience, the movies he's put out so far. This trailer really did have a very serious tone, a very, you know, I don't want to use the word urgent, but what would be... It's just a very serious tone, very ominous, if you will. There's a lot of portions of this trailer where it's just serious. It's just them trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But at the end of the day, this is a teaser. The one thing I hope we don't get from this is a White House Down. The first trailer for White House Down came out, and it was a very serious trailer. Then the second trailer came out, and we found out it was actually more of a buddy comedy flick, like a buddy cop action flick. The movie came out, and it was passable. I didn't mind it. I liked the Gerard Butler one better. Olympus Has Fallen. I liked that one a lot more than I liked White House Down, but I still enjoyed both of them for what they were. But getting back to this, I mean, let's just break it down. The visuals, they worked for me. They looked really good. They looked realistic. This, to me, was what 2012 was striving to be. Because that again, comes into the whole family-friendly section where there's corny jokes, needlessly placed humor, very much like 2012. There were a lot of corny jokes. There was a lot of things that just went against everything that we know. Like, suspension of disbelief was being pushed right up against the wall with a gun held to its head, and you still wouldn't admit to anything. Because it was just too far-fetched. It was too out there. But getting back to this movie, it looks as though they're taking a realistic approach as to how all of this would actually happen. Obviously, pushing it up to 10 or even 11, but they're still trying to keep it within the realm of a very serious tone. And I like that. I like that we're getting this approach to it. A lot of people have said, oh, you know, the bad sad look on The Rock's face, or the look of horror on his face that didn't look good. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I thought it looked convincing. The Rock is not an Oscar caliber actor, but he is getting there. He is becoming a very good actor. But everybody out there just looks like they're tearing this movie down just because. And that, to me, is really starting to tick me off. Because I'm starting to... There's a couple of websites that I no longer go to anymore because, to me, it feels like they're being incredibly fake. Because they will rip on something when almost everybody else is glorifying it and saying how great it looks or how excited they are about the project. These people will go, no, this is going to be stupid. And normally I'd be okay with that because always there's going to be people with a differentiating opinion. But it's every single time with these people. And that to me shows that they're either fake or, again, they're in the wrong profession. And that's why I don't read those sites anymore. One of the biggest sites that I used to read was Cinema Blend. I don't go to Cinema Blend anymore because they rarely, if ever, actually cover a new news topic. They will have their own spin on it and their own coverage on it and really fill it with their own information and not actually fill it with facts. And that's one of the problems I have with that site. Badass Digest is a site that I rarely go to anymore because A, he fills every article with spoilers. Anything that he talks about with Star Wars or any of the Avengers, he fills it with spoilers. So I don't go there. And also, I mean, with the exception of the odd film here and there, he pretty much just berates every film that comes out. And I'm not a film fan to watch somebody else just tear down everything. There are movies that I will watch just to tear it down. Absolutely. Because there are movies out there that are one of those so bad it's good that you have to tear it down. But when you watch a movie and you're just like, no, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. Okay, well, explain. Well, because of this. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You know, and he just kind of gets that stick shoved right up his ass again. And so I really don't care for that type of an opinion on film because to me, again, it comes across as fake. So this new version of California Dreamin', though, holy God, this song, I've been trying to find it. I've been trying to find who sang it because this song is such a good version. It fits so well with the tone of the trailer. That shot, with the first shot of destruction that you see, it's the wide shot of Los Angeles, and you see the ground cascading in on itself as it's going in, but in the distance, you see all the skyscrapers are waving like it, just the little touches of visuals with that music. It worked for me. Now, I guarantee there's going to be people out there that it didn't work for, and absolutely. But to me, it's seeing a pattern and seeing all these people come out and saying, you know what, no, this movie's going to be terrible. You got Paul Giamatti in there, looks like he's hamming it up. How? Where do you come to these conclusions? Seriously, from the 12, not even 12 seconds, from the 5 seconds of screen time that he had in the trailer? You know, it's like, what was the trailer that just came out where they said that somebody looked like they were overacting? Oh, the Star Wars trailer. There were comments about people saying that John Boyega's performance in the trailer looked forced and he was overacting. From the 3 seconds that he was on screen. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it just gets under my skin, and I really just don't like it. I don't care for this type of movie opinion because to me it's either they're being trolls. They're just being trolls. But why? What is the purpose of it? Get involved in a film discussion. Have a great film discussion. Bring up positives and negatives and have a back and forth. Don't just say, well, you're stupid. Well, that's not a friggin' opinion. Like, it really infuriates me when I see a lot of these comments. But I'm really excited about San Andreas. I think this is going to be a really cool, fun action summer flick. And I think it's going to work. I really do. It comes out on Memorial Day. It opens up on May 29th, 2015. If you guys have, or if you want to hear any more comments or any more topics about this film, before we get any more news, I'll definitely talk about it more, because this movie to me is one that I think is going to work. I think that they've picked the right tone. They picked the right feel. They've got The Rock as a leading man. You got Paul Giamatti in there, adding a lot of weight and gravitas to the film. You know, there's a lot going for this movie. I think that it is going to work out really well. And I'm really just hoping for it, because this is the type of movie I like to go and see. I like to have escapism. I like to go in and sit down and not necessarily let my brain shut off for a couple hours, but be able to just watch and just absorb everything I'm seeing and just have fun. And that's what this movie looks like it's going to deliver. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, whether or not you're looking forward to this, whether you think it's going to be a bomb, anything of that sort. But the movie opens up on May 29th, 2015. If we get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. The first teaser trailer for the upcoming Robert Zemeckis film The Walk was released yesterday, just prior to the San Andreas trailer. And I was actually surprised that we got a trailer out this early, because this to me is not a Star Wars, it's not an Interstellar, so I don't understand the reasoning behind releasing a trailer a year before the film's going to be released, because this movie's not coming out until October of 2015. But this is more of an announcement trailer, or just getting people aware of this project. And so we have Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's playing Philippe Petit, who in 1974 illegally walked a tightrope between the towers of the World Trade Center, both the North and South Tower. And this, to me, looks like it could be a very fascinating story. There's a great cast involved in this movie as well. But the main thing to me is that this hopefully is a return of sorts of Robert Zemeckis. Because Robert Zemeckis, to me personally, has not directed a good film even since Castaway. Castaway, to me, was his last good film. Some could argue even What Lies Beneath, because I really thought that was a really great attempt at a unique film for him. And funny enough, he actually made What Lies Beneath in between filming of Castaway. Because for those of you who don't know, with Castaway, they actually took a break of filming for about a year, because Tom Hanks needed to lose weight and he needed to grow out the beard. He wanted it to be authentic. He didn't want it to be visual effects or makeup or anything of that sort. So what they did was they filmed all the sequences on the plane leading up to the island, and then the first little bit on the island. And then when it skips to 3 years later or 4 years later or whatever it is, once they cut at that point, they took a break from filming for about a year. And when they did that, he went and shot What Lies Beneath, because he'd been trying to work on that movie for a while, and he found this is a really great time. I can fit this in. We've got a break for a year. We're not doing any prep on the movie really at all. We're just waiting for Tom. So they went and shot What Lies Beneath, and then once that movie was all completed, he then went back and finished Castaway. So that's a really cool technique for a director to use. But one of the things that Robert Zemeckis has always been very good at is hiding special effects. He's been very good at blending CGI into a scene where you didn't even know that it was there, and even sometimes before it was even a big thing to do. Like, Forrest Gump is probably the best example of that. Now, in this day and age, when you rewatch the movie, they are a little bit more noticeable. But one of the biggest scenes that I can remember was the scene where Lieutenant Dan is laying in the hospital bed, and the person comes and picks him up, and he's lost his legs from the knees down. Well, when they actually shot that, they did complete green screen on his legs, and they had a section of the bed that was cut out where his legs just hung down. And when they pulled him out, his legs were just dangling there. They digitally removed them, added in that flat part of the bed, and put the stumps on. And that was back in like 1995. So, I mean, and you couldn't even tell. Like, I was really surprised at how they did that. But, I mean, any of the scenes with the leaf, or, there was just a lot of fixes and adjustments. And that was one of the first movies that came out where they used CGI to fix things, which I thought was a really cool technique and a really good idea. And that, I think, was what, like, George Lucas at the time was working on redoing the original trilogy, the special editions, and he saw that you could do this with fixing. You could just go in and fix an issue with special effects, and that gave Robert Zemeckis the idea to do that in the movie. So it was a really cool kind of blending of talents. But this, to me, I really do hope that it's a return, because he stuck in mocap for a while, And while those movies were good, like I liked Beowulf, but it fell a little bit flat to me. Christmas Carol really didn't do anything for me. Polar Express I do like. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. But again, it's the uncanny valley where you feel a separation between the characters that you're watching because they're inherently not real. But Flight, oh God, Flight was one of the most overrated movies in the last 5 years. I don't understand the hoopla about that film. Just because it was his return to live action, so it wasn't very good. I mean, it wasn't good at all. Denzel Washington did have a good performance, but that's not a shocker. And I hate to say that because, I mean, he did put out a good performance, absolutely. But the movie in general just wasn't very good. I didn't really care for it at all. And I hope this is his return. My only problem with the trailer, and I like the trailer, I like the visuals of it, the way the camera went, the camera going up the tower at the beginning, I thought that was really cool. But my problem with it was the titles flying at the screen. If they had them placed in the 3D environment, that would have been different. But you could tell that they were not. They were flying at the camera, kind of like the way that they used to do it in the 90s. But they did it also because this movie's being done in 3D, and they really wanted to emphasize the 3D. They could have done that with the shot that they had with the tower, the fact that you're going right up along it, and you can see the depth perception, you can see the length of the tower, and you can see how far down it is when the camera comes back up and looks up top, and you can see how far down everything is. They didn't need those flying titles, and I really wish that they didn't do that, but that's really my only gripe about the trailer. This, to me, I think is going to be a really cool story to tell, but I also think that Robert Zemeckis is going to do something unique visually with this movie. At least that's my hope, because they've already shot the movie, they've already got a teaser out, and the movie's a year away. What are they going to do? What is he cooking up? You know, that's what I'm getting intrigued about, because I hope this is the return of Robert Zemeckis. Remember, this is the guy that brought us Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. He is the one who brought us Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, this guy brought us Castaway, Forrest Gump. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but he's a master at doing this, but he's lost his way, at least within the last couple of years of films that he's done, because he's gotten to the point in his career where he can kind of do what he wants. You know, he wants to toy around with this. That's cool. He wants to go and do a movie about this pilot. That's awesome. But I want to see him get back into the swing of things. I really want to see him deliver a quality film. And that's what I'm hoping that we're going to get with this. So, I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, you got a win right there. Yeah, I mean, I can't really talk anymore about this movie because there's not a lot of information out there for it. This is just my overall opinion. I really think this is going to be a winner. I just wish they hadn't done those titles. So, but anyway, it's just a minor complaint. The Walk's going to be opening up on October 2nd, 2015. If we do get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. Just this morning, the Screen Actors Guild nominations were revealed about all the upcoming actors and ensembles, both in film and television, were all announced. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, I'm only going to be talking about the movie section, because this is a really good kind of inkling as to what we're going to be getting possibly with the Academy Awards. Usually the Golden Globes is the best kind of description about that. The problem with the Golden Globes is that there's two categories. There's dramatic, and then there's comedy musical. So usually what they will do is the majority of people in the dramatic will get all the nominations, and then maybe one or two from the musical or comedy will get that. So I'm just going to go down all of the lists here, and then I'm going to give my thoughts on each one. So for the Screen Actors Guild nominations for Outstanding Male Actor, they are Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, Benedict Cumberbatch for Imitation Game, Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler, Michael Keaton for Birdman, and Eddie Redmayne for Theory of Everything. For Outstanding Female Performance, we have Jennifer Aniston for Cake, Felicity Jones for The Theory of Everything, Julianne Moore for Still Alice, we have Rosamund Pike for Gone Girl, and Reese Witherspoon for Wild. For Outstanding Male Supporting Performance, we have Robert Duvall for The Judge, Ethan Hawke for Boyhood, Edward Norton for Birdman, Mark Ruffalo for Foxcatcher, and J.K. Simmons for Whiplash. Then we also have for Outstanding Female Supporting Performance, we have Patricia Arquette for Boyhood, Keira Knightley for Imitation Game, Emma Stone for Birdman, Meryl Streep for Into the Woods, and Naomi Watts for St. Vincent. Now, there's a couple of things to me that, well, there's one thing in particular that's missing. Actually, two, technically. I wonder if one of them is going to actually get a nomination, but a lot of talk has been going around about Selma. which is a movie that comes out, I believe, on either Christmas Day or December 31st, or right around New Year's. But currently, right now, everybody who's seen the movie is raving about it. I think it still holds 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of people have been talking about David Oyelowo, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, Oyelowo, his performance as Martin Luther King. So I think just because most of the people in the Screen Actors Guild have not seen Selma yet, that's why it was not included in this. And that happens from time to time. There are movies that don't come out, or they get a limited release for Christmas Day, and then they'll have a wide release sometime in January. So this movie, I believe, is following that same pattern. But I don't think we can count David Oyelowo out of the Best Actor consideration yet. But Outstanding Male Actor, right now, there is no standout. There was early on in the year, and that was Steve Carell. Then, when Theory of Everything was being talked about, Eddie Redmayne was said to be the standout. Then it was Benedict Cumberbatch, and a lot of it has been around Benedict Cumberbatch right now. But there's also been the resurgence of Michael Keaton with Birdman. And then you have Jake Gyllenhaal's just tense and unflinching performance in Nightcrawler. My personal choice right now, just based off the movies I've seen, because I've seen Theory of Everything, I've seen Birdman, and I've seen Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler, to me, is the one that I think should win. I would love... there is not a choice on here right now that I would be opposed to. All of these actors deserve it. There is not one performance in there that I feel is just because of the clout of the actor or the type of movie that it is. I mean, Eddie Redmayne as Stephen Hawking, I think the performance stands well above the movie itself. The movie is, it's okay. It's more of a Lifetime movie than anything. It's really kind of a by-the-books biography. But his performance as Stephen Hawking, I mean, you watch him transform. You watch him degrade and just fall apart. And it's heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. And he sells every single moment of it. But Louis Bloom is such a unique character. I mean, I don't think since Travis Bickle have we seen a character like this before. I mean, and I may be wrong on that. That's just the one that's jumping to my head. But just the devotion that he had. I mean, he lost a lot of weight for the role. When you watch the movie, you just see how disconnected he is. I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, but one of the characters in the movie asks him, like, it had something to do with, not feeling comfortable around people or not being around people enough or something like that. And Jake Gyllenhaal responds back to him. He's like, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just I don't like people. Maybe they bother me. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of the gist of the line. And when you watch the movie with those lenses on, it completely changes the performance yet again. It's already a fantastic performance, but when you rewatch it with that mindset, it's even more uncanny. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Renee Russo in the movie, about her getting a nomination. I personally don't see it, especially considering all the other actresses that are being nominated. I mean, I could switch her with Meryl Streep because I think Meryl Streep's on there just because of her name. And also, I mean, Into the Woods, I haven't been hearing the greatest things about it. It's I've heard some really good, I've heard some so I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, as it stands right now, Outstanding Male Actor, that one, I would like to see Jake Gyllenhaal win. I don't even know who it's going to come down to. For a while there, I was saying Steve Carell. Now it's Jake Gyllenhaal. But I think that either Michael Keaton or Benedict Cumberbatch are probably going to win. I think Benedict Cumberbatch has more traction, if you will. I think that he's probably going to be the one to take it. But it's anybody's game right now. This one is so stacked that I don't know who it's going to take it. That's not the same with all the other categories. So, Outstanding Female Performance, I think Felicity Jones was good in Theory of Everything. I still haven't seen Wild yet, so I can't comment on Reese Witherspoon, but there hasn't been all that much traction on her name. Jennifer Aniston in Cake, there's been a fair amount of traction with her, but I don't think that it's going to be enough. I really don't. I personally think that it is going to come down between Julianne Moore and Rosamund Pike. If I had to choose, I think still Alice, because it's about, and I've seen it, it's a tearjerker of a movie. It's stunning. It's heart-wrenching. It's gut-punching. It's just... And Kristen Stewart actually gives a good performance in the movie. But still, I think Rosamund Pike's got it. I think there was so much buzz around her role in Gone Girl and what she was able to do. And just, I think, for people who didn't read the book and seeing the twist that happens in the movie, I'm not going to give it away if you haven't seen it, but the twist that happens, it completely changes your opinion on her. And you just kind of, like a light turns on. You're like, holy crap, like this is incredible. But Julianne Moore, I think that is something that the Academy voters actually go more towards. I think that it's probably going to be Julianne Moore, but it's going to be between those two. I don't think there's going to be anybody else that's going to come out and be in the running for that. So I think it's going to be between those two. I think the Academy might lean more towards Julianne Moore, although I would personally like to see Rosamund Pike win. For Best Supporting or Outstanding Supporting Male Performance, the one that stands out to me on here that's kind of off is Robert Duvall from The Judge. While he gave a good performance in that movie, overall the movie wasn't that great. And I know that shouldn't have any effect on his nomination as to whether or not he gets nominated, but I found that, male supporting wasn't really that strong of a category this year. There weren't all that many supporting male characters outside of the two that are going to be going head-to-head, which are Edward Norton and J.K. Simmons. Those two are going head-to-head. While I haven't seen Whiplash yet, Birdman was incredible. Edward Norton in that movie is hilarious. He's so good in that movie. The whole movie's great. If you haven't seen Birdman, go out and check it out. It's probably playing at a theater near you right now. But yeah, I mean, there was a fair amount of traction for Mark Ruffalo for Foxcatcher, but that's not going to get anything. Ethan Hawke for Boyhood, no, it's good that he's going to get the nomination because from what I've been hearing, he does have a really good performance in that, but I don't think it's enough. There hasn't been, enough traction, enough word of mouth about his performance in that movie to garner that. The main ones have been about Edward Norton and J.K. Simmons. And if I had to choose right now, and that's only because I've only seen one of them, would be Edward Norton. But again, I can't make the decision because I haven't seen Whiplash yet. I haven't seen Foxcatcher yet, so I can't comment on whether or not Mark Ruffalo is better than Edward Norton. But Robert Duvall, I know, is probably either him or Ethan Hawke are the two lowest totems on this poll. I think it's going to come down between Edward Norton and J.K. Simmons. Personally, from the buzz that I've been hearing, again, I haven't seen Whiplash, but from what I've been hearing, J.K. Simmons is actually going to be the one taking this role home. If this is still accurate to the list that we're going to be getting when the Academy nominates their people, I think in the end of December or beginning of January. And getting on to Outstanding Female Supporting Performance. The two standouts are going to be Patricia Arquette and Naomi Watts, but I think Patricia Arquette is signed and sealed with this one, mainly due to the fact that the LA Film Critics actually awarded her Best Actress, not Best Supporting Actress. And a lot of people thought of that as weird, but there's a really great article. Where is it? Is it on Badass Digest? I don't think it was written by Devin, but I think it might be on Badass Digest. If you go to Jeff Snyder's Twitter feed, on there you will see there is an article about why this makes sense. And I read through it, and it actually does make sense given the context of the film. And what the definition of a supporting character versus a lead character is. So while I do agree that she could have won either Best Supporting Actress or Best Actress, I personally would have said, just based on screen time and presence in the movie, from what I've heard, I haven't seen the movie, but I would have said Best Supporting Actress. But this article really does make a great argument for Best Actress. But because she did win that, I can almost say that she's going to be a lock. Naomi Watts is a close second. Because from what I've been hearing about St. Vincent, she just knocks it out of the park. I'm surprised Bill Murray's name isn't on here, but again, Best Actor is so stacked that it's incredible. I mean, Timothy Spall was left off of this for St. Vincent, or for Mr. Turner. You know, you have Jack O'Connell was left off of here for Unbroken. Now, from what I've been hearing about Unbroken, it's not that great of a movie, but his performance is still really good. But it's more about, you know, what are the cliches about a biopic, or what are the cliches about this, and we're just going to hammer every single one of them home. That's what I've been hearing about the movie. So part of my anticipation of that film has gone down a little bit. I'm still going to see it because I really do want to check it out. It's a great, fascinating story that I want to see further explored. So, but yeah, I have a feeling that we're going to see Best Actor. Oh, if I had to choose... Damn it, I can't choose one. I can't. I really can't. I want to see Jake Gyllenhaal win just because he is a tremendous actor. Michael Keaton deserves a comeback. Eddie Redmayne was just a knockout performance. Benedict Cumberbatch, from what I've been hearing, is probably going to be the one to take home the Oscar. But I would also love to see Steve Carell just because of the massive transformation that he did into the role of John DuPont. So if I had to name one right now, and this is just going off of all the traction I've been hearing, Best Actor, Benedict Cumberbatch. Best Female Actor or Best Actress, Julianne Moore. I'm going to say Julianne Moore is going to take the Oscar, but I want Rosamund Pike to take it. Best Supporting Actor, I'm going to say J.K. Simmons. Best Supporting Actress is Patricia Arquette. So my list, again, is Benedict Cumberbatch for Best Actor. Best Actress is going to be Julianne Moore. Best Supporting Actor is going to be J.K. Simmons. And Best Supporting Actress is going to be Patricia Arquette. That's my list, if you will, for what the Oscars are going to be. I think those are going to be the ones that are going to win this as well. So when the winners of the Screen Actors Guild are announced, I will definitely be covering that on here. And then hopefully we're going to get an inkling as to whether or not this is going to be very close to what the Oscars are going to do. So I'm really kind of looking forward to this. I'm hoping that we can really start to get deep into the award season. We can really start to see who's going to stand out above who. Who's going to stand out above whom. I'm sorry, I know I was going to get some comments about that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all these performances, who was possibly left off of these lists, anything of that sort. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. But if you get more information about all these topics, then I will definitely update you guys on here. Well, that'll about do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a great audience. Go ahead and click the subscribe button there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever we post a new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all your movie updates. And you can also give us a like on our Facebook page at facebook.com/movie news with Niklsun. If you guys ever have a topic or a question you'd like to have discussed on the show, go ahead and put a comment in the comment section. You can email us at movienewswithniklsun@gmail.com, or you can put a comment on our Facebook page at facebook.com/movie news with Niklsun. We'll try to get to as many on every Friday episode as we can. But until next time, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.